Oh, hi there. This is a couple days ago now. Some new developments with the Philando Castille shooting. That was when that black man was shot by a police officer, and his girlfriend video captured the entire event and posted it on Facebook via live stream. To this day, I still say the whole thing was fake. Um, it was fake because there's no way it would have ever have gone viral had it been real. People have to understand that. It's not very convincing video as is. It looks completely scripted, and those people who were in that video were crisis actors. They just, that was their shot at making it on the television, and they're building blocks to their careers. And you may go, well, that's just doesn't make any sense. Well, it does, because blacks have been wrongfully shot and killed numerous, uncountable amount of times over history. And this $3 million that the Castile family has supposedly been given, as far as compensation goes, no way. In a year, if you know anything about the court system, you would know $3 million doesn't get handed over to anybody except lawyers and judges and all them in a year. It just doesn't happen. Uh, it doesn't matter what profile the case is, especially when it's against the police, if ever it gets handed over. These people represent an organization that has been looking for money, uh, I guess, from the Minnesota government for a long time. They're a blacks' rights group, and they push this viral sensation onto the internet. It makes an impression upon young minds and was used as propaganda. But the whole thing was geared towards getting people to think a certain way. And a lot of adults still believe that sort of stuff when they watch the television. They have no concept of the mentality behind why things are on media in the first place. They clearly have no idea of what Hollywood's about. They have no idea what mainstream media is about, the news, and everything that goes with it. It's all a story. And there have been uncountable amount of misjustices in the world that never make the television. Why this one in particular does it go on the television and get mainstream access? Why does the president acknowledge this one particular incident? Why? Because it's a group that has been building up for years and years. Who knows how long? It's all been tied up in the legal system. And there are people who go about proceedings and moving things forward, and they're shady characters in themselves. Um, the, the court felt as though that they were going to use this as an example uh, to hand over some money, but to whom's getting it and why they're getting it and in what form they're getting it, these are all open to debate. I mean, I'm on the outside looking in, and I can only see so much, but I do see a lot of people who, whether they know it or not, are reinforcing a lie when they say, oh no, that's real, I believe it. That's video evidence right there. Whether you know it or not, if you think that, you're reinforcing a lie. And there are people who do know that that's totally bogus. You don't have to watch CSI to know that, but they go ahead and say, no, it's real anyway, because that's what they want you to think. because they're manipulative. And rather than, talk to people as intellectual equals, they'd rather treat you like you're stupid. And rather than letting the flowers get some sunlight and get in to grow, they keep them as little weeds. This money, $3 million, it could be 30 million, it could be 30 cents. We don't know because the media lies all the time. And there are noteworthy subjects that are never brought up. And they're not brought up because they don't fit in with modern day culture and where the propaganda machine is trying to direct us to. They're trying to do it in an undercurrent, underhanded sort of way, in a subtle way, so that we don't notice. As I've said, and will continue to say, that depending on what generation you're from, the government already knows the best way of just lying as a blanket term and how most people are going to respond to that because that's just how their brains are hardwired. Most people don't have, you know, regular dealings with the court system. I don't have regular dealings with the court system, but you put two and two together and you figure some things out and you work behind the logic of why some things would be and what is obviously wrong about something or obviously a lie, and then things start to make more sense. Like, dealing with the court system is a very boring thing. It's a lot of sit and spin. Basically, nothing gets done, and lawyers take your money. That's pretty much the gist of it. Um, and it takes years and years and years and years. And Philando Castille was a representation of all the blacks that have had wrongdoings had done before them, maybe just in that state, maybe in all the U.S. I don't know. Uh, but a lot of things were taken into consideration, and it takes a long time to make that sort of decision for anybody. Well informed, a very educated, very intelligent judge or whatever would have great trouble coming to a conclusion um, based on all the information available. And it's much more complicated than a 10-minute video of some stupid black bitch going, and then having a bunch of chuckle-headed idiots fucking go, oh, the police, rabble, rabble, rabble. Just a bunch of fucking idiots who believe anything. Anyway, so my impression is, from what I gather, uh, some money was handed over. To whom specifically, and how much, and under what conditions and circumstances and rules and all that, we don't know. But there most certainly are. Like, because some people will go, well, if let's say hypothetically that the Minnesota government did hand over $3 million to Philando Castille's mother, as they said they did. Let's say hypothetically they did that. What would stop her from going and investing that $3 million to go after more money? I mean, the court might say, no, you can't do that, but there's always a way around it. There's always someone willing to listen to the story if there's something in it for them. And it's very difficult to enforce that. And a $3 million isn't, $100 billion, but it's most certainly something that, you could do something with if you go to the right places. You talk to the right people, you get things done. It's just totally possible. And given that there's a racial bias in this story, all sorts of cretins are going to come out of the woodwork, and none of them can be trusted. They're all in it for themselves, and you don't know what their agenda is. Um, yeah, it is confusing. Like I don't have an education on the subject. I go, What is the most likely scenario? How does this most likely work? And how can I learn about this without wasting my time? Without, sticking my nose in a book and studying rhetoric that could be outright lies. And, having to spend months and months doing that. Isn't there a faster version of how I can learn this? Get the gist of it? I don't know. I don't know if you guys like being conditioned by studying someone else's words and then you thinking afterwards, well, because I read it in a book or I read it online, therefore it's my opinion, even though it's not. Um, I don't know. You tell me. But anyway, a lot more to this damn Philando Castille story than we know about. And I think there are blatant lies about it. And it ain't just that video, even though that is a gigantic lie. And it's also very detrimental to society in a lot of ways. And the video in itself, although fake, is an inherently evil thing because of the disease it put in the mindset of impressionable people. Um, that's where I think that the crisis actor that played Philando Castile, the black woman, and probably the pretend cop in that video should all be punished for manipulating propaganda for their own advantage, for capitalizing on other people's misery. I don't care how hard they worked beforehand. The fact is, they were there. Uh, they got their 15 minutes of fame. They got a big payout, and they 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 told a huge lie. And I don't think people should be rewarded for telling huge lies. Anyway, that's what I got. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.